When red wine streamed down my white dress in the middle of the charity ball, I didn't cry. I looked straight into Richard's eyes and saw what had always been there: contempt. Over his shoulder, his mother, Eleanor, barely contained a smile. For 15 years I had endured, but in this moment, my patience ended. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I'd love to hear where you're listening from. Share your city below. Let's begin this journey together. I saw it coming in slow motion, Richard's arm extending, the glass tilting. Wine cascaded down my silk dress as the tech investors and their wives fell silent. His mother, Eleanor's smile, his sister's knowing nod. 14 years of private humiliation had finally become public. I dabbed at the stain with a napkin, met his gaze, and quietly said one word: understood. Then I walked out to make the call I'd been preparing for 5 months. The lobby of the Four Seasons felt too bright after the dimly lit ballroom. My hands didn't shake, not anymore. I'd moved past fear months ago. I pulled out my phone and called my brother. "It's time," I said when Marcus answered. He did it, in public, in front of everyone. "You sure, Evelyn?" Marcus's voice was steady, calming, the voice that made him the most feared corporate attorney in Houston. Positive, 300 witnesses. Launch everything tomorrow. Roger that. Stay at a hotel tonight. Don't go home. I ended the call and requested an Uber. As I waited, I watched Richard's mother, Eleanor, emerge from the ballroom, her diamonds catching the light. She spotted me and approached, her heels clicking on the marble floor like warning shots. "Evelyn," she said, her voice sugar-coated venom. "Such a shame about your dress. Perhaps next time you'll remember your place before speaking about matters you don't understand." I looked at this woman, 80 years old, powerful, cruel, who'd orchestrated my slow destruction for 14 years. "There won't be a next time, Eleanor." Something in my voice made her pause. For the first time, I saw uncertainty flicker across her face. "What's that supposed to mean?" she asked. I smiled. "You'll find out tomorrow." The Uber arrived. I left Eleanor standing there, her mouth slightly open, the matriarch momentarily speechless. I checked into Hotel San Jose, a place Richard would never think to look. He preferred flashy 5-star hotels, not boutique spots with character. I sat on the bed and removed my wine-stained dress. The red had seeped through to my skin. Fitting. My phone lit up with texts from Richard. "Where are you?" "Stop being dramatic. Mother said you threatened her. What the hell?" I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my laptop and checked the email Marcus had prepared, ready to send to the board of InnovateX first thing tomorrow. I reviewed the documents one last time, the financials, the recordings, the text messages. 5 months of careful collection. It started when I saw the message on his Apple Watch. He'd left it charging in the bathroom. The notification from Chloe flashed on the screen. "Miss you already. Your wife is so boring compared to me." I wasn't even angry, just tired. Tired of being Richard's convenient prop, the supportive wife who'd abandoned her PhD in sociology to help him chase his dreams. Tired of Eleanor's constant reminders that I came from humble beginnings in comparison to their oil money from Midland. Tired of being the butt of inside jokes at tech functions. That day, I called Marcus. "I need your help," I told my brother, "and it's going to be big." Marcus didn't hesitate. "About damn time, Evie." We formulated the plan carefully. Marcus hired a cybersecurity specialist who helped me legally access our shared cloud accounts. Richard had forgotten I was listed as an administrator on several of them. I installed recording software on our home computer that activated with key phrases. The evidence piled up quickly. Richard discussing with his sister Kate how to keep Evelyn in her lane. Eleanor advising him to remind her who pays for her comfortable life. The three of them laughing about how I'd never finished my dissertation because I was too simple to complete it. But the real gold was in the financial records. Richard had been using company funds to wine and dine his mistresses. He'd created fake business meetings, fake business trips. He'd even used the corporate apartment for his affairs while telling me he was working late. All of it documented, all of it saved, all of it now ready to be deployed. I slept surprisingly well that night. When I woke, I texted Marcus. Green light. At 9 a.m. sharp, the email went to every board member at InnovateX. At 9:15, a courier delivered divorce papers and a separate legal notice to our home. By 9:30, Richard was blowing up my phone. I didn't answer. Instead, I ordered room service and watched the morning news. By noon, I received a text from Marcus. It's working. His HR department has put him on immediate leave. Board meeting emergency session at 2. I spent the afternoon walking around South Congress feeling strangely light, free. For the first time in 14 years, I wasn't Richard's wife. I was just Evelyn. My phone rang at 3, a number I didn't recognize. I answered. Is this Evelyn Kincaid? A woman's voice, hesitant. Yes. My name is Chloe Watson. I think we need to talk. We met at a small coffee shop on East 6th. Chloe was younger than I expected. Mid-30s, expensively dressed, wedding ring still on her finger. She fidgeted with her latte, avoiding my eyes. He told me you had an arrangement, she said finally, that you both saw other people, that it was modern and mature. I laughed, couldn't help it. And you believe that? She pulled out her phone, showed me emails supposedly from me to Richard, discussing my own affairs. He showed me these, and your Instagram where you check in at hotels during the day. The emails were fabricated. The Instagram account wasn't mine. I felt sick. How many others? I asked. Chloe's eyes filled with tears. At least 3 that I know of, all wives of men connected to the company, all told the same story. She paused. My husband is Stephen Watson. He's InnovateX's biggest investor. Now I understood why the board had acted so quickly. There's more, Chloe said. Richard's mother runs this group, Wives in Tech Austin. It's supposed to be supportive, but now I realize it's a hunting ground. She introduces women to Richard, women who might be useful to him. She's been doing it for years. I wasn't surprised. Eleanor had tried to recruit me to that group repeatedly. I'd always declined, sensing something off about it. And his sister? Kate handles the cleanup. She works in PR. She helps him cover his tracks, coaches him on what to say. It's a family business. Chloe wiped her eyes. Your husband didn't just cheat on you, he's a predator, and I can prove it. Chloe had access to her husband's email. Stephen Watson had been suspicious for months and had quietly gathered his own evidence against Richard. Corporate funds misused, resources allocated to fictitious projects, all to facilitate Richard's affairs. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because my marriage is over too, she said simply, and I want Richard to pay for what he's done. To all of us. I left the coffee shop with copies of everything Chloe had. Walking back to the hotel, I felt my phone vibrate. Richard again. This time I answered. Where the hell are you? He sounded panicked. Does it matter? You need to come home right now and fix this. The board is talking about firing me. Do you understand what you've done? Perfectly, I said. I'll find you, he threatened. This isn't over. You're right about that. I hung up and called Marcus. We need to accelerate, I told him. It's bigger than we thought. Richard found me 3 days later. I was having breakfast at Josephine House when he slid into the chair across from me. He looked terrible, unshaven, eyes bloodshot, wearing the same wrinkled Oxford shirt he saved for weekends. You've ruined everything, he said, voice low but intense. 14 years of building something, and you destroy it because your feelings got hurt. I set down my fork. Is that what you think this is about? Hurt feelings? What else? So I had a few affairs. So what? You got the life you wanted. The house, the trips, the status. We were a team. A team. I tasted the word. Teams don't have one member doing all the work while the other takes all the credit. What work? Hosting dinner parties? Decorating our house? Don't be ridiculous. I leaned forward. Who edited every one of your presentations? Who coached you through investor meetings? Who gave you the idea for InnovateX's main product when you were stuck? Who wrote half your speeches? It wasn't your mother. It wasn't Kate. It was me. He waved this away. Support staff. That's what wives do. No, Richard, that's what partners do. But I was never your partner. I was your prop. This is about your stupid dissertation, isn't it? You've been bitter for years because you couldn't cut it in academia. My phone buzzed with a news alert. I glanced at it, then turned the screen to show Richard. The headline read, "Innovate under investigation following executive misconduct allegations." His face went white. "What did you do?" "I didn't do anything. Chloe Watson's husband did." "Chloe? What does she have to do with this?" "Everything. She's been talking to the other women. They're all talking now." Richard's hand shook as he reached for my water glass and drank deeply. "You don't understand what you've started. Mother will—" "Your mother and Kate have been removed from every charity board in Austin," I interrupted. "Eleanor's Bridge Club uninvited her yesterday. Your social circle is collapsing, Richard. Your mother's power was always an illusion." He stared at me like he'd never seen me before. "Who are you?" "Someone who finally understands her worth." He tried a different approach, his voice softening. "Evelyn, please, we can fix this. Together, like we used to. Remember when we started? When it was just us against the world?" For a moment, I remembered. The tiny apartment, the late nights, the dreams. Before Eleanor sank her claws into him, before success changed him, or maybe just revealed who he'd always been. "That couple doesn't exist anymore," I said. "You killed them." "I never meant to hurt you." "That's worse. It means I didn't even matter enough to consider." His phone rang. He glanced at it, panic flashing across his face. "I have to take this." "Go ahead," I said. "It's your board chairman, isn't it? Calling to fire you." Richard stood, already answering the call, walking away from the table. I watched him go, his shoulders hunched, no longer the confident tech executive, just a scared man facing consequences for the first time in his life. I finished my breakfast in peace. A week later, Marcus flew in from Houston. We met in his hotel suite to strategize. The room was filled with legal documents, printouts of emails, and transcripts of recordings. "InnovateX has placed Richard on indefinite leave," Marcus said, loosening his tie. "Their PR team is in damage control mode. 3 women have come forward publicly, 7 more privately." 10 women? The number stunned me. "Over 12 years," Marcus confirmed, "all following the same pattern, all recruited through Eleanor's network." I shook my head. I knew he was having affairs, but this is systematic, Marcus finished, which makes it actionable. One affair is personal, a decade-long pattern of targeting women connected to business interests using company resources. That's corporate misconduct. My phone buzzed with a text from Chloe. "More coming. Meeting today with Lisa Chen, Silicon Valley 2017. I showed Marcus the message. He whistled. "Lisa Chen is big. She runs engineering at Oracle now. If she goes public—" "Richard is finished," I said. "Not just Richard, the whole family. We've been investigating Eleanor's finances. She's been receiving consulting fees from InnovateX for years, $300,000 annually for strategic advice. Let me guess. Those payments coincide with Richard's promotions?" Marcus nodded. "And with Kate on the PR payroll handling crisis management, we're looking at a family enterprise built on exploitation." There was a knock at the door. Marcus answered it. A woman I didn't recognize entered carrying a laptop. "Evelyn, this is Sophia Rodriguez. She's the technology journalist I told you about. She specializes in exposing toxic culture in the tech industry." Sophia was in her 40s, with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. "Mrs. Kincaid, I've been tracking stories like yours for a decade, but rarely with this level of documentation." For the next 3 hours, I walked Sophia through everything we'd gathered. The recordings, the emails, the financial records, the network of women manipulated by Eleanor, the corporate resources misused by Richard, the PR cleanup orchestrated by Kate. "This isn't just about affairs," Sophia said, typing notes. "This is about power, manipulation, and corporate governance failures. Your husband's behavior was enabled by an entire ecosystem." "Will you write the story?" I asked. "Oh, I'll do more than that," Sophia replied. "This deserves a full investigation, video interviews, document analysis, a podcast series." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "That level of exposure could impact the legal proceedings." "Good," I said firmly. "This isn't just about my divorce. This is about changing how business is done, how women are treated, how families like the Kincaids operate with impunity." Sophia looked at me with new respect. "Most women in your position want privacy." "I was private for 14 years, I replied. "Privacy protected Richard, not me." As Sophia left, Marcus turned to me. "You sure about this? Once it goes public at this scale, there's no going back." "I'm counting on that." 2 days later, I received a call from Eleanor. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won out. "Evelyn," she said, her voice artificially pleasant. "I think it's time we had a conversation. Woman to woman." "I don't see what we have to talk about." "Don't be naive. Family matters should be handled privately. This public spectacle helps no one." I laughed. "It's helping me quite a bit, actually." $5 million, Eleanor said abruptly. "That's our offer. Sign the NDA, drop all claims, and walk away with $5 million. Generous considering your contribution." "My contribution?" I felt heat rising in my chest. "You mean the 14 years I spent supporting your son, or the career I put on hold, or the dignity I sacrificed while you treated me like hired help? Don't be dramatic. You married well. Many would be grateful." "Your problem, Eleanor, is that you think everything and everyone has a price. $5 million might seem like a lot to the girl from humble beginnings, right? That's what you always called me." Eleanor's voice hardened. $10 million, final offer. The papers will be delivered today. Sign them or we will destroy you." "Destroy me how? I've already lost everything that mattered to me. My marriage, my time, my self-respect. What else is there?" "Your reputation," Eleanor hissed. "We have resources you can't imagine." "So do I replied, "and mine include the truth." I ended the call and immediately phoned Marcus. "They offered $10 million. "Not bad," he said, "but we're just getting started." An hour later, a courier delivered a thick envelope. Inside was a check for $10 million and a 40-page non-disclosure agreement. I took a photo of both and sent them to Sophia. Her response came minutes later. "Perfect evidence of attempted silencing. This is gold." The story broke on a Monday. Tech Dynasty's dark secret, inside the Kincaid family's web of power and manipulation. Sophia's investigation ran on the front page of TechCrunch, with simultaneous features in the Austin Chronicle and San Francisco Business Times. By Tuesday, it had been picked up by national news. By Wednesday, Innovatix announced Richard's termination and a complete board restructuring. By Thursday, the SEC had launched an investigation into the company's financial practices. I stayed in my hotel room, declining all interview requests. This wasn't about me. It was about something larger. On Friday morning, there was a knock at my door. I opened it to find Chloe standing there with 2 women I didn't recognize. "This is Beth from San Francisco," Chloe said. "And this is Aria from Palo Alto. They both have stories about Richard." I invited them in. For the next 4 hours, we shared experiences. The patterns were identical: the grooming, the gaslighting, the lies about an open marriage, the cruel comments designed to erode confidence, the financial manipulation. "He told me I was too emotional to handle money," Beth said, wiping tears. Meanwhile, he was charging our hotel rooms to his company card. Aria nodded. When I confronted him about another woman, he convinced me I was paranoid, said my unstable behavior was why my first marriage failed. "Eleanor reached out to me after I met Richard," Chloe added. "Invited me to join her women's group. Said she could help my career. She was vetting me for him. Beth pulled out her phone. I've started a private chat group. There are 15 of us now, all with similar stories. 15 women, 15 lives disrupted, 15 careers potentially damaged by association with Richard. The scale of it staggered me. "What do you need from me?" I asked. "Leadership," Arya said simply. "You're the one who stopped him, who exposed them all." I shook my head. I just wanted out of my marriage. "You did more than that," Beth insisted. "You created a blueprint for holding these men accountable." That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about all those women, about Eleanor's toxic influence, about a system that allowed predators like Richard to thrive. At 3 a.m, I opened my laptop and started writing. Not just notes this time. Real writing. The kind I'd abandoned when I put my dissertation on hold 14 years ago. I wrote about power dynamics in tech marriages, about the invisible labor of corporate wives, about how wealth and privilege create shields against accountability. By morning, I had 20 pages. By the end of the week, 50. I sent them to Marcus. "This isn't just good," he told me. "It's important. You need to finish this." "Finish what? My dissertation?" "That and something bigger." 3 months later, I sat in a conference room at the federal courthouse in Austin. Across the table sat Richard, Eleanor, and Kate, along with their attorneys. Marcus was beside me, along with our legal team. Richard wouldn't meet my eyes. Eleanor glared at me with undisguised hatred. Kate stared at her phone, as if this was all beneath her attention. "My clients are prepared to settle all civil claims," their lead attorney announced. $50 million with no admission of wrongdoing. Marcus leaned back in his chair. "That's not going to work." $50 million is more than generous," Eleanor snapped. I looked directly at her. "This isn't about money." "Then what do you want?" Richard asked, finally looking at me. "Accountability," I said. "Public accountability." Our attorney slid a document across the table. "Mrs. Kincaid's terms are straightforward. Full financial disclosure, public acknowledgement of misconduct, establishment of a $15 million foundation to support women affected by workplace harassment and manipulation, and resignation of all family members from any board positions." Eleanor laughed. "Absurd. We'll fight this for years." "You'll lose," I said quietly. "The criminal investigation is just getting started. Financial fraud, misuse of corporate resources, tax evasion. How much jail time are you willing to risk, Eleanor?" The color drained from her face. "You wouldn't," Richard whispered. "I already have," I replied. "The federal prosecutors have everything. This settlement is your only chance to control the narrative." Kate finally looked up from her phone. "This will destroy us socially." "Yes," I agreed, "it will." 3 hours later, they signed. Not because they were sorry, not because they understood the harm they'd caused, but because, for the first time in their privileged lives, the Kincaid family had no other option. As we left the courthouse, Marcus put his arm around my shoulders. "How does it feel?" "Incomplete," I admitted. "The foundation will help with that. You'll be able to do real good." "It's not enough." "It never is," he said, "but it's a start." 1 year. Later, I stood at a podium in a packed auditorium at the University of Texas. Behind me sat the dissertation committee that had just unanimously approved my PhD in sociology. Dr. Kincaid's research on power dynamics and exploitation in high-status marriages represents groundbreaking work, the committee chair announced. Her analysis of how wealth and privilege enable patterns of abuse has important implications for both family, sociology, and corporate governance. The audience applauded. In the front row sat Chloe, Beth, Arya, and 9 other women, Richard's former targets, now my research collaborators and friends. That evening, we gathered at my new home, a modest but beautiful bungalow in Travis Heights. No marble countertops, no crystal chandeliers, nothing that reminded me of the mansion I'd shared with Richard. "To Dr. Evelyn Kincaid," Chloe toasted, raising her glass, "and to the Clarity Collective." The Clarity Collective was the foundation we'd established with the settlement money. In its first year, it had already provided legal and psychological support to over 200 women in similar situations. The book comes out next month, I told them. The publisher thinks it will hit the bestseller list. From corporate wife to best-selling author, Beth laughed. Eleanor must be losing her mind. I shrugged. I don't think about them anymore. It wasn't entirely true. I did think about them sometimes. Richard had moved to Chicago, his reputation in tech permanently damaged. Eleanor had retreated to their family estate in Midland, her social power evaporated. Kate was trying to rebuild her PR career in Los Angeles, with limited success. But mostly, I thought about the future, about the classes I was teaching, about the women we were helping, about the changes slowly rippling through Austin's tech community as companies implemented new policies and oversight procedures. Later that night, after everyone had left, I sat on my porch with a glass of wine. Not a $900 Cabernet, just a $20 Pinot Noir that tasted better than any wine Richard had ever selected. My phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. Just saw the advanced sales numbers for your book. Congratulations, sis. You did it. I smiled and looked up at the Texas sky. I had done it, but not alone. Never alone. 6 months after my dissertation defense, I stood backstage at a TED Talk in Austin. My palms were sweaty. Public speaking had never been my thing. That had been Richard's domain, the charismatic tech executive who could charm a room. 5 minutes, Dr. Kincaid, the stage manager said. I nodded, taking deep breaths. My phone buzzed with encouraging texts from the women of the Clarity Collective. You've got this. We're all watching online. Tell our story, Evelyn. Our story. Not just mine anymore. When I walked on stage, the lights were blinding. I couldn't see the audience, just feel their presence. 3,000 people. Millions more would watch online. My name is Evelyn Kincaid, I began. 2 years ago, I was known only as Richard Kincaid's wife. Today, I'm here to talk about the invisible structures that enable abuse in high-status relationships and how we can dismantle them. For 18 minutes, I spoke about everything. The gradual erosion of identity, the financial control masked as protection, the social networks weaponized against victims, the corporate resources used to facilitate exploitation. The most dangerous predators don't look dangerous, I said. They have prestigious jobs. They donate to charities. They sit on boards. They have powerful mothers who smooth their way and sisters who clean up their messes. They have systems that protect them. As I spoke, I felt a weight lifting. This was why I'd refused to sign Eleanor's NDA, why I'd insisted on public accountability, why I'd finished my dissertation. Some stories needed to be told. The Clarity Collective has now worked with over 300 women, I concluded. What we've found is that isolation is the predator's greatest weapon, but connection, real connection, is our greatest defense. Thank you. The applause was thunderous. Afterward, women lined up to speak with me, many with tears in their eyes. You told my story, one whispered. I didn't have your courage, said another. That night, my talk went viral. By morning, our foundation's website had crashed from traffic. By the following week, we'd received $2 million in new donations. Change was happening faster than I dared hope. The first anniversary of the InnovateX scandal brought a flood of media requests. I declined most of them, but agreed to one, a profile in The New Yorker. The journalist wanted to interview me at home to see how my life had changed. This is quite different from your previous house, she observed, looking around my bungalow. I smiled. This is a home. That was a showpiece. We sat in my small garden drinking iced tea. She asked thoughtful questions about the foundation, my research, the book. Then, inevitably, have you had any contact with your ex-husband or his family? No, I said. The settlement included a no-contact provision. And if you saw them today, what would you say? I considered this. Nothing. There's nothing left to say. After she left, I checked my email. There was a message from an address I didn't recognize, with the subject line, "Important. Please read." I almost deleted it as spam. Then I noticed the signature, Kate Kincaid. "Evelyn, I'm breaking the no contact provision to warn you. Mother is obsessed with destroying you. She's hired people to dig into your past, your finances, your friends. She's desperate to find something, anything, to discredit you. I'm not writing this out of kindness. I'm writing because her vendetta is destroying what's left of our family. Richard is drinking heavily. Mother barely leaves the house. Our social standing is gone. I don't expect forgiveness. I participated in everything they did, but I wanted you to know. Kate." I forwarded the email to Marcus with a simple note. "Is this a concern?" His reply came within minutes. "Let them try. You have nothing to hide. They do." He was right. I deleted Kate's email and went back to my garden. I had tomatoes to water. The call came on a Tuesday morning, a number from Chicago. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Evelyn, it's Richard." His voice sounded different, older, strained. "You're violating the no-contact order," I said. "I know. I'll keep this brief." He paused. "Mother died yesterday. Heart attack." I sat down, unexpectedly shaken. Eleanor Kincaid, gone. "I'm sorry for your loss," I said formally. "Are you?" His laugh was bitter. "She hated you until the end, said you destroyed our family." "Your family destroyed itself, Richard." "Maybe." Another pause. "The funeral's Friday, in Midland." "Why are you telling me this?" "I don't know," he admitted. "Maybe I wanted to hear your voice. Maybe I thought you'd care. Maybe I'm just drunk at 10 in the morning." I could hear it now, the slight slur in his words. Kate hadn't been exaggerating about his drinking. "Get help, Richard," I said, not unkindly. "Goodbye." I ended the call and sat in my kitchen, staring at nothing. Eleanor was dead. The architect of so much manipulation, gone just like that. I felt no joy, no vindication, just a strange emptiness. I called Chloe. "Eleanor died," I told her. "How do you feel?" she asked. "I don't know. She caused so much harm, to me, to you, to countless others. But she was also a product of her time, of her upbringing. She did what she thought would protect her son, her family name, their status." "That doesn't excuse it," Chloe said firmly. "No," I agreed, "it doesn't. But understanding isn't the same as excusing." Later that day, I opened my laptop and began writing a new chapter for the paperback edition of my book. Not about Eleanor specifically, but about the generational patterns of privilege and entitlement. About mothers who raise sons to believe the world owes them everything. Understanding the disease didn't make it less destructive, but it might help prevent new cases. 3 years to the day after Richard poured wine on my dress, I stood in the lobby of InnovateX headquarters in downtown Austin. The company had survived the scandal, but not unchanged. New leadership, new policies, new culture. I was there to speak to their employees about toxic workplace dynamics and how to recognize warning signs. The invitation had come from their new chief ethics officer, a woman who'd read my book and reached out. As I waited, I studied my reflection in the glass doors. Gray streaks in my hair that I no longer colored. Laugh lines I no longer tried to hide. A posture that was straight, confident, unapologetic. At 58, I was more myself than I'd ever been. The ethics officer greeted me warmly. "Dr. Kincaid, thank you for coming. Your work has been transformative for many companies, including ours." As she led me to the conference room, I noticed the changes in the office. More diverse faces, a nursing room, a prominent display of the company's ethics code. "We're still a work in progress," she admitted, following my gaze, "but we're trying." I spoke to a packed room of employees for an hour, not about Richard specifically, he was old news now, but about the systems that enable abusers, about the small compromises that lead to major ethical failures, about the courage it takes to speak up. Afterward, a young developer approached me. "My mother went through something similar," she said quietly. "Your foundation helped her. I just wanted to say thank you." On my way out, I passed the executive floor where Richard's office had once been. The glass-walled corner suite now belonged to someone else. No trace of him remained. Outside, the Texas sun was bright. I put on my sunglasses and walked toward the parking garage. My phone rang. "Marcus." "How'd it go?" he asked. "Good," I said. "Really good." Ironic, isn't it? Speaking at the company that was the scene of the crime? Not a crime scene anymore. Just a company trying to be better. "Like the rest of us," Marcus chuckled. "By the way, I got some news about Richard." "Oh?" "He's sober. 1 year next month. Working at a small startup in Chicago. Nothing fancy." "Good for him," I said, and meant it. "And Kate's PR firm is representing some women's advocacy groups now. Apparently, she's become quite the champion for workplace equality." I laughed. Redemption comes in strange forms. Speaking of which, the Clarity Collective just got that government contract we were hoping for. $5 million to develop training programs for corporate HR departments. That's fantastic news. Yep, from corporate wife to government contractor. Not bad, sis. I reached my car and paused before getting in, looking back at the gleaming tower where I'd once felt so small. "You know what today is?" I asked Marcus. 3 years since Winegate. How could I forget? "I just realized something. I'm happy, Marcus. Actually happy." "You deserve it, Evie." That evening, I hosted a dinner for the core team of the Clarity Collective. 12 women around my dining table, sharing stories, strategies, and a fair amount of wine. No designer labels, no pretension, just authentic connection. As I looked at these women, brilliant, resilient, supportive, I thought about the long journey that had brought us together, the pain that had forged our bonds. "A toast," I said, raising my glass, "to unexpected gifts." "To second chances," added Chloe. "To speaking our truth," said Beth. "To exit strategies," I finished with a smile. Later, after everyone had gone home, I sat on my porch swing with a final glass of wine. The night was warm, stars visible above the Austin skyline. 3 years ago, I'd been Evelyn Kincaid, corporate, wife, a role carefully constructed to reflect Richard's status. Now I was Dr. Evelyn Kincaid, author, advocate, founder, friend, a woman who had reclaimed her voice, her power, her future. I hadn't just escaped a bad marriage. I'd built something meaningful from its ruins. I took a sip of wine and smiled at the memory of that red stain spreading across my cream silk dress. Richard had meant it as humiliation. Instead, it had become my liberation. Sometimes destruction is just the first step toward rebuilding something better. I raised my glass to the night sky, to Eleanor, wherever she was, to Richard and his journey toward sobriety, to Kate and her unexpected evolution, and most of all, to myself. The woman I'd finally become at 58. The woman I'd always been beneath the surface, waiting to emerge.